Hi, I welcome everyone on another session of Nitesh Mehra and Associates webinar series. Today we have with us Mr. Nitesh Mehra himself present on the board. Mr. Nitesh Mehra is an advocate mainly practicing in Delhi High Court and Supreme Court of India. He is a leading lawyer in a criminal law. He started his journey of practicing law in 2008 and then he remained an office law researcher in Delhi High Court. The famous popular criminal matters he did was nationwide popular case of Baby Falak and also remained part of association in Samjhauta blast case. He has also got his various cases of civil and criminal reported in leading newspaper. He will be speaking today on the topic right to die with dignity as a fundamental right during this pandemic. So I welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Angelika. Nice to have you on board. And since the introduction was very well given by you, the topic on which today I am speaking is the topic amongst every citizen of India and is in the mind of every person who is not getting a proper death ceremonial rites which has to be performed after the death of the person. The families are so much disturbed. The disturbance is there in the mind of the people. The disturbance is there in the riverside. This disturbance is there in the mountains. The disturbance is there in the plains, or it may be the seaside. So nobody has remained untouched now with this problem. So going into this, I have a PPT prepared today on this topic, which has been supported by my intern Angelika Sharma, who is a student of just fourth year. So let us see what all we have today with regard to this topic. So the question which we have formulated here today is the right to die with dignity is a fundamental right or not? So the right to life, which is enshrined in the Constitution of India under Article 21, has been clearly stated that from a birth of a person is claused with the basic rights. The right to life is one of the basic as well as the fundamental right without which all rights cannot be enjoyed. The right to life means a human being has an essential right to live, particularly that such human being has a right not to be killed by another human being. Yes, the right to life is enshrined in Article 21, that too under Part 3 of the Indian Constitution, and which is the Article 21, which says the prohibition on the deprivation of the life or liberty except according to the process established by law. It ensures upon the state the obligation to provide every person a good quality of life and dignified life. This right has been interpreted by the Indian judiciary in a very elaborate way to include the new rights within its purview. So, right to die was not considered as a fundamental right, but later on, the Supreme Court has interpreted Article 21 and declared a right to die is a fundamental right. Earlier, the common cause judgment right to die was not considered as a fundamental right, but the court in its judgment declared right to die with dignity as a fundamental right. So, under the Indian Constitution, what has been provided that Constitution is the basic legal document of the country and it explains what are the basic fundamental rights of the human or the citizens of that country. The protection and personal liberty, which is guaranteed under the Article 21, has been interpreted by the Supreme Court in the many instances. There has been lot of rights which are included in Article 21, such as the right to privacy, right against solitary confinement, right to legal aid, right to speedy trial. The judiciary in many cases have observed and interpreted that right to have a decent burial is also included under the Article 21 of Constitution of India. So right to human dignity is not restricted to living human being, but yes, available even after the death also. So in some of the case, if I discuss was the Ashray Adhikar case, which was against the Union of India, the court held it is the obligation of the state to have a decent burial to the decent person as their religious beliefs and the ceremonies which has to be performed. So, under the Indian Penal Code, what has been provided? Trespassing a burial place, the place of worship and place of sculpture, cognizable offence under Section 297 of IPC. It provides irreverence to dead bodies. Trespassing means violating injuries act and entering into a place where the funeral rites are performed as depository for the remains of dead, or offers any indignity to human corpse, cause disturbance to any other persons who assembled for the performance of funeral ceremonies and with an intention to wound the feelings of any person. Thus, the right to decent burial comes under the Indian Penal Code. Here we need to see that at the time when the framers of this law of IPC have kept in their mind this right, that even after the death, there are certain things which has to be performed peacefully according to the religion of the person, according to the customs which they follow. And if during those ceremonies and customs somebody comes in between, somebody trespasses, or somebody creates some hurdles, then that has been placed as a punishment under section 297 of Indian Penal Code. So right to be cremated with human dignity was came before the Supreme Court in the case of Permanent Kataria versus Union of India, where it was held that right to live with human dignity to have an extrinsic meaning to treat his dead body with respect, which he would have deserved had been alive subject to his tradition, culture, and the religion which he professed. The state must respect a dead person by allowing the body of that person to be treated with dignity unless it is required for the purposes of establishing a crime to ascertain the cause of death and to be subjected to postmortem or for any other investigation. With the law, the preservation of the dead body and its disposal in accordance with human dignity. One may note the very important point here that the Supreme Court has time and again has said this, and even if somebody is a violator of law, or somebody who has waged a war against the nation, or somebody who has been we say a terrorist who has been given a death sentence by our courts, even that person has the right according to the religion to get buried or get cremated according to whatever customs which they follow. So another important case was S. Sethu Raja. In this case, relying on the previous judgment, it was held that right to human dignity is available to persons even after their death. In Ashray Adhikar Abhiyan versus Union of India deals with the rights of homeless people for decent burial. A similar ruling was also given, and it was held by Apex Court that people having a right to decent burial according to the religious faith to which the person belonged before death. Therefore, it can be safely concluded that a dead body has a right to decent burial or cremation in India. Also, it is in the best interest of both the deceased and society that dead body is buried and cremated as soon as possible. So, right to die with dignity. The landmark judgment which came is the common cause, a registered society filed by an NGO declared the air on passive euthanasia in India. It is observed that right to live with dignity includes autonomy in relation with the process of dying and choosing not to undergo in pain and suffering. So protection of dead person's property, section 404 IPC is the section which provides the dead person's property. Now, what has happened during the recent times, outbreak of COVID-19, one has never heard of or thought of that such situations, such pictures would come out and would see the massive disrupture and disrespect for the dead persons. So according to the COVID-19 dead body management guidelines of Ministry of Home Affairs, there are some standard precautions which has to be followed. So what was that standard precautions? We have outlined those, that while removing the body from the isolation room, the health worker must perform the hygiene, ensure proper personal protection equipment, water resistant apparel, goggles, N95 masks and gloves. All tubes and drains of the dead body should be removed. Any puncture, holes or wound resulting in the removal or drains should be disinfected and dressed with impermeable material. Plug oral nasal of the dead body to prevent leakage of body fluids. Place the dead body in a leak-proof plastic body bag. The body bag can be wrapped with a mortuary sheet or sheet provided by the family members. If the family patient wishes to view the body at the time of removal from the isolation room or area, they may be allowed to do so with precautions. The body will be either handed over to the relatives or taken to the mortuary. And well-being of the dead body should not be allowed. Bathing, kissing, and hugging of the dead body should not be allowed. Autopsies on COVID-19 dead bodies should be avoided. Transportation of the body should be done in body bag. Large gathering at the cremation burial ground should be avoided as a social distancing measure. Or at the cremation burial ground, the present staff should practice the standard precautions or the protocols which has been provided by the requisite state government. The ash does not pose any risk and can be collected to perform the last rite that has been already done with regard to the COVID protocols. So now what we have seen, these pictures were very disturbing, highly alarming, though not to be seen again and again, but it shows the plight which has happened, that these dead bodies are lying in a lane and waiting for their turn to be get cremated. We have not seen these pictures right from our birth till today, and seeing those, it's like everyone's heart get memorized and seeing these pictures that how badly in a shape or situation we are. During the COVID pandemic, the people of our country have faced not only the financial crisis but the emotional crisis as well, and this was the one of them. So now this is one another I say rather most disturbing picture which came to light in the recent times when the dead bodies being seen floated, being bited by the dogs or the vultures which is around, or we have seen the burials on the sand adjacent to the river Ganga. So these situations were very bad. Some of them has been told as a matter of defense that they were doing it for a matter of ritual, but rather the picture was something else. It's basically the inefficacy on the part of the state not to provide proper burial, not to provide them the woods to get the bodies cremated, and because of such thing, such number has risen in large. So bodies of COVID-19 victims have been found dumped in some rivers. Images of corpses drifting down the Ganges River have shocked the nation, revealing the world's worst ever infections. The administration has informed that the bodies of those who have succumbed to COVID-19 or any other disease are being thrown into rivers instead of being disposed as per proper rituals. As a result, bodies have been recovered from rivers in many places. Also, the relatives of the deceased denies to accept the dead body due to the fear of spread of coronavirus. In this scenario, what is the right of a deceased person? That has to be understood by today's session. So, right to disinterment. Once a body is buried in public property, it becomes a property of the state and the custody of law. The dead bodies are not bothered to remain in peace. The court is mandated to protect these dead bodies against any disturbance or disturbance. Law does not favor any form of disturbance and hence protects the sanctity of buried dead bodies in the spirit of public property. After a body is buried, it is not to be disturbed unless the court orders to do so under exceptional circumstances. The fear of COVID-19 has not spared even the priests, which is why they are avoiding performing marriages or the last rites of people. People waiting in cities are desperate to find the priest to conduct Shraddh. They are willing to shell out higher Dakshina donations so that the rituals can be completed and the dead person's soul finds the peace. So I have been dealing in the past sessions also, but COVID has come out now, basically opportunity for those who want to earn more and even not thinking the situation in one the present goes to perform these rites. Now the situation in hand is like somebody of old age has not been expired because of the old age, but there have been the instances of young people of age group 20s, 30s, 40s, and the entire families being like got disturbed, like deaths are there. There are nobody to go around with them and to got cremation. So these priests who are less in numbers now seeing opportunity and asking for high dakshinas. So who to be said responsible for this, we'll see in the later part of this session. So it's the duty of the state, the duty of the center to protect this right, which is seemed only words saying that it's a fundamental right, but nobody is actually working on the same. So a PIL in Supreme Court has been now filed seeking a judicial probe into the recovery of bodies from Ganga. So this is definitely something very climate which has come out. So there has been a team which has been considered now, and they have went onto the river banks of Buxar in Bihar and Ghazipur in the districts of UP to see that how these bodies have come flown from there. So the petitions have been filed by the two lawyers who also sought to direct the state authority to conduct the postmortem of the dead bodies, accusing them of inhuman lapses. The petitioners contended that the recovery of decomposed body from Ganga raised a serious concern. The act of state is inhuman as they fail to provide the facilities for decent burial, cremation of dead bodies and to keep a check on pollution of the holy river Ganga by such act of indecent either of individual or of authorities, the petition said. So they also allege that the present case showed the failure of state to keep a check on crematorium which charged exorbitant prices on the people for cremation of bodies during the pandemic. The petitioner cited Pandit Ramanand Pataria case wherein the top court has held that the right to dignity and fair treatment under Article 21 of the Constitution of India was not available to a man during his life but also to a body after his death. So NHRC has also sent notice to UP, Bihar over floating corpuses in Ganga. So this commission has issued notices not only to the state but also the chief secretaries of the state asking their reply that why these bodies have been flown over from their state to this state and what was the reason behind that. So Uttarakhand forest has turned into cremation ground. Now this is also something which I have seen in the recent past coming in the every news that the mountains also has not been left included and they are also seen as the crematorium ground in the open forests of Uttarakhand. So what has been seen there, that since they were not having any big cremation grounds and there are a lot of COVID bodies and there is no management by the state, so their relatives taking them into the vans, putting them at the place where the cremation is going on, and we don't know all what all harm the environment will get. But the cremation of all these bodies are very important, which has been overlooked by the state. So what we see in this picture again, that a fair ground which was a green lush, the mountains has now been turned into the cremation grounds. So with all due respects to those who have passed away, there has been no help from the authorities to the government or the government to the relatives of COVID-19 victims. So heart-wrenching images of fire burning have come to the fore from the state, and COVID spreading like wildfire. Many believe that the number of deaths is set to rise in the coming weeks. So with this, we are completing our today's sessions, and if there is any questions, I may request my intern Anjalika Sharma to kindly pose it so that we can see what all good conclusion we can give to today's session.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. So this session is very fruitful. So there are various questions I want to put forth in front of you. So the first question which I want to ask is that we have seen massive destruction during this pandemic, and there are n number of people who have lost their lives battling the COVID-19 virus. So in the situation where everybody is under the risk of death, how we or any other person can secure the right of the deceased?
See, how we can secure as a citizen of India, definitely what left with us is to approach the court. So there is a general gain saying we see that we will sue you in court. So the only left of the hope of people is remains with the court. So the first thing which we can see to enforce the right of the deceased, that we can file a writ in the Honorable High Court under the Article 2 to 6 of Constitution of India. And if we see that matter is of importance with regard to the whole of India, we can also file a PIL directly into the Supreme Court under Article 32. And it is noteworthy to mention here that PIL is not every time is to be required to be filed in the lengthy manner. Now, seeing the urgent situations and to protect the right of the deceased, we can also give a letter petition which can be treated in the form of the PIL. And by those manner, we can definitely protect the right of the deceased who are not getting the justice even after their deaths.
Thank you for this answer, sir. And another question is that decent burial is also a fundamental right. And we have seen in the PPT, in the Uttarakhand, where the place of burial or the cremation was not provided by the state. Then how we can make state responsible, or what is the state's duty in this regard?
See, yes, definitely, it's a very good question. It enshrined in Article 21 of India, what we say right to life. And it's the court itself who has now guaranteed and protected that right under Article 21 of India as a right to die also. So when somebody has passed away or somebody has expired, so in those eventuality, it has stated that it is a right. So how we can enforce them, I have already said. Now it is about that when there is no place available, then who should be held responsible? Definitely, it's the state's responsibility. It's the state's responsibility to secure and safeguard every fundamental right which is available with a human person, and that too at the time when he is living or at the time when that person has passed away. So yes, for sure, in such scenario, when there has been no management by the authorities, no help being extended to these COVID victims or to the persons who have expired, so in those situations, the state should be held responsible and some compensation should be awarded to their legal heirs, so that they can be at least may see that state has some responsibility in which they have failed to do, and for that person, for those person, they can perform their other ceremonial rites with proper due dignity and respect.
Thank you, sir. So the another question is that we have seen people are not cremated properly. Also, the dead bodies are cremated all together, like 3 or 4 dead bodies are going together. So, to whom we can held liable? The state authority, the central government authority, or the authorities of the cremation ground, or the family members of the dead body. So, whom we can held liable for the same?
see, if we see this unprecedented situation, it has not come in the past, and not even you, or if I'll see myself, we have not seen such situations in past. There have been deaths in the past, there have been massacres in the past, but not like this, which is been happening. Especially mentioning the second wave of coronavirus, which started from, if I see, 3rd of April and went up till today. Now it's on the diminishing side. So it was very much in the knowledge of the state as well as in the center that the second wave of coronavirus is yet to come. And the preparations in this regard should have been done well in advance. So, not providing proper cremation grounds, not having earmarked burial grounds for the disposal of COVID bodies was not there. So, who should be held responsible would always remain a matter of debate. But yes, the responsibility should have been accounted for was of the state as well as of the center, because it is not something which has now come in the front of their eyes. They should have learned from the West countries, the other countries which have already faced such scenario, that the second wave would have likely to come, and we should have made those arrangements which should have been done properly. Yes, if we say that whether families should be held responsible or the persons who are doing in the cremation ground, I don't see that it is their any fault. So if the things, the resources would have been provided to them in the proper manner, there would not have been any disrespect to these dead bodies. And who are they? They are actually amongst us only. They are the humans, they are the people. Even we have seen in the recent times the deaths of our near relatives also, or somebody in the knowns also. And we have also seen the same pictures ourselves by the naked eye, which we have today provided, that yes, the bodies have been waiting in the queue to get cremated. So God forbids this situation may not come again. But yes, if there is a likelihood of coming of third wave, then the entire nation as well as the center and state should already get prepared so that next time this situation may not arise for future, as a human has a right to die with dignity.
Uh, Thank you, sir. So the last question for the session is that we have seen, or where there are various instances coming from different parts of the country, that people were about to cremated where the dead bodies were alive and they were breathing, but they were declared dead. And they were just, when the family members was about to cremate the bodies, they just stood up. So in this situation, how we can save the life of people? Because at this point of time, uh, declaring a live person dead, how we can protect them from the situation?
See, for these, the if we see that the the bodies or the persons who have just stood up before they being cremated, in that the responsibility would have been directly of the hospital if they have been released from the hospital as dead. And if it is the family members they have brought directly from their home, then those family members. In that, I say the state or the center should not be responsible, but yes, definitely the hospital, whosoever have been dealing with that COVID patient, and the family management or the members who have been dealing with their patient in the home isolation. So those should be held responsible. So with this, I think I've answered all your questions of the today's session.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this lovely session.
Thank you, Angelika, for being there in this session and providing us such a good attempt on this PPT. And I'll see that more such sessions would come and throw light on the subjects which are in the current scenario are required to be addressed. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.